Hi guys, it's album review time. We've got Seventh Crystal and Entity. I've managed to get hold of this album early, so much appreciated to Frontiers Records for sending me this. This is the third studio album from this Swedish melodic hard rock band. This album's coming out on the 8th of November this year on Frontiers Records. 52 minutes and 32 seconds long, 13 tracks long. This is a follow-up from Wonderland that only came out last year. And also Infinity EP came out last year, which was almost like the recording sessions for Wonderland, and sort of showed a heavier side of the band, I suppose, and they actually quoted that in the press, that it is like the heavier side of the band and maybe a direction they might be going into with the next album. So, and only a year apart from these albums, and for me that's great news, because Wonderland was just, well, it was my second favourite album of the year. And I even toyed with it being my favourite album of the year. And we all know that, you know, as far as us rock and metal fans these days, there's an abundance of music, and great music at that, that's just fired at us weekly. And to even like imagine getting 20 of your favourite albums for me these days is a hard task. And I was fighting for it to be number one, and maybe it still is. You know, that's last year, and man, it's been a great year already. So does this album live up to Wonderland? Well, more than lives up to Wonderland, I'll tell you that now. So they really seem to be on a roll, this band, and songwriting wise especially. When you can feel the ideas flowing, and that the ideas flowed that much. This is a concept album. That could be dodgy for a start as well. Well, one, it's the third album, which can be a bit of an awkward time for a band. A third album can be sort of make or break, if you like, sometimes for bands. And if you're going to say it's a concept album at that, that's a risk. But man, they pulled it off amazingly, spectacularly. They really have. So in the social media posts, and, you know, leading up to this promo that I got, it says that this is a concept album about social media, AI, filter bubbles, and sensational headlines by unknown writers, disinformation, and how that affects the society, basically. And man, we're especially living in that world now, aren't we, where, you know, media takes sound bites, you like, and sort of contorts things, and, you know, really like plays with people's minds. And if you're easily swayed on that and won't listen to the whole story, that is a massive, massive thing. And, you know, even with the, you know, the political stuff going on in America at the moment, if you listen to sound bites of each side, man, it's a dangerous world. It really is. And the band touch upon that brilliantly on this album. So 13 songs, like I said. But is this what we expect from Seventh Crystal? Yes, it's got all the Seventh Crystal sound that we expect and love. But there is definitely a progression to the sound of the band as well. A lot of moments here are really heavy, almost like bordering upon metal influences for sure in quite a few of the tracks, but there's no melody lost, by the way, guys. Don't think you know, you're all of a sudden getting a heavy metal band with Seventh Crystal. They blend so many great elements of melodic rock, hard rock, and metal as well, especially on this album. And man, it's just done perfectly. It all merges in the perfect way to produce an absolutely amazing album. Like I said, the band are slightly more progressive, I suppose. They've always shown that a little bit with some really intricate odd time signatures on this album. There's like short little narration parts within songs. It's not one of those albums that's like 20 concept albums that are like 20 songs long and you get little sound bites and stuff like that. There's one song that's like a minute and something long, which I'll get onto, but the rest of it, there might be the odd talking parts within songs, and it fits it really perfectly with the story. But don't worry, this isn't Seventh Crystal becoming like Dream Theater. It's definitely not that. This is almost at times for me, it's sort of like an ultra melodic Queensryche element to their sound. It's intelligent, it flows perfectly, like some flowing musical passages throughout. The album works perfectly as a concept album, but every track is also so brilliant as a standalone track as well, much in the way of Queensryche's Operation Mindcrime. You know, that album you can listen to front to back and it's perfect as a story, but also individually the tracks are brilliant as well. Or even Soraya Signs, you know, latest couple of albums, you know, the brilliant Swedish band Soraya Sign. Almost, you know, they're very good individual songs, but work perfectly as a concept as well. Now, I love this band, and I think they've sort of, the way they've grown as a band, they've taken massive strides, you know, all the way from their debut up to now. And I mean, I love the first album. Delirium was an excellent debut album. Wonderland upped the ante somehow and became one of my favourite albums of the year. Just couldn't stop listening to Wonderland. And now we have their difficult, like I said, third album. And has it achieved everything it's supposed to? Fuck yeah, it has. It's achieved everything and more. Now, we have had a member leave out of the band. Johan Alsfang left from the keyboardist. So I'm not really sure who's doing the keys throughout this album. Obviously, there is keys throughout this album. It's the 7th Crystal Sound. But I'm not sure. No one's named as doing the synth work. I'm thinking it might be Christian Fair. I'm not really sure. But of course, Johan left the band. All the other guys are still there. You've got Christian Fair on vocals. You've got Anton Roos on the drums. Olof Gadd on the bass. Gustav Lindy on the guitar. And Emil Dorneris on the guitars. This is guitar heavy, this guy's. Probably a step up of heaviness from Wonderland. Where Wonderland, I think, was a slight step up of heaviness from Delirium. But it's, like I said, they are a melodic hard rock band, and the 7th Crystal Sound is totally there, guys. You've got no worries, but there's almost a step up of intelligent songwriting, which makes this a real special album. So I'm going to go through all the tracks because all of them are pretty special, to tell you the truth, and I don't really want to leave anything out, especially as this concept album. But we start off the album with Oathbreaker. Now, this is an amazing opener. Immediately you're projected into the concept and the feel of a concept album, and after a heavy beginning with some chanting, almost like those chants like from Anarchy X that we had on the Mindcrime album, which almost reminds me a little bit of that. Metal riffing and a short narrated part, the band sort of just explode into this brilliant opening track. And what a statement of intent it is as well. I mean, immediately the songwriting and the musicality is just there in spades. Fair's vocals are just unmistakable and brilliant as usual. The rhythm section in this song is tight and heavy, and Olaf Gadd's and Gustav Lindy's guitars are just all over this outstanding opener. Then we move on to the second track, which is 13 to 1. Sort of a fast-paced track, a crunchy riff and swirling synth melody smash out the speakers, man, in this heavy second track. It's fast and frenetic, but it's also so 7th Crystal. No one sounds like this band, and that's another special thing about these guys. They have got a sound of their own. There's sort of Iron Maiden-esque guitar parts on this. They sort of face off with Fair's brilliantly written vocal melodies. What a start to the album, man. And we're only just at the beginning. Track 3 is 404, or 404. Love this track. Medium-paced, clean guitar and Fair's vocals just bursting out a powerful vocal line before the band exploding into a almost Queensryche-esque track. The chorus is just immense, man, on this one. One of the best of the album and the band's already amazing discography. It's topped off by a very cool sort of Eastern melody guitar solo and a cool twin lead as well. Intelligent, intricate, outstanding. Track 4 is Path of the Absurd. This is the single. Medium to fast-paced track. I love this song. Probably would sit nicely on Wonderland, I would say, but still a little bit of a step up, maybe in heaviness and songwriting. The swirling synths, the powerful soaring vocals. This is just a showcase in melodic hard rock, man. It's an excellent single choice as it just gives the fans that sound that they are known for, but a glimpse of the way they sort of always improve with every release. Architect of Light is track 5. I can't remember an album, man, that with a stronger start for quite a while, and it just carries on. Shades of their debut on this, with piano just carrying this sort of AOR track, sort of intertwining with slightly restrained guitar compared to the first 4 tracks, that is. It's no less powerful though, as emotion just runs through this band with every note. It's such a fresh take on AOR, really. It's another highlight in an album of loads of highlights. And then track 6 is the interlude. It's a narration, a spoken part, about 1 minute and 12 seconds long, and it leads into Blinded by the Light. This is an excellent track, man, that really sort of injects some metal elements, with Fair sort of dipping in and out of sort of more aggressive vocal stylings. It's riff heavy, but still full of melody. I think the band hinted at this, like I said before, with the excellent Infinity EP, but they just take it to another level. One of the heaviest and more progressive songs on the album. Siren's Song is the next track. It's track 8. This is a ballad, sort of ballad, and one of my favourites on the album. The band like slow it down a little bit for an outstanding song that boasts a chorus that's so catchy you just can't stop listening to it, man. Christian Fair's vocal melody line on that, man, on the chorus, just makes it. It really does. Sort of goes into this higher range. And it sort of just gives you that chorus that will just stay. It just stays in your head, and you just can't help listening to it time and time again. Although this is a ballad, it also has one of the heaviest moments on the album, and before returning to that brilliant chorus at the end again. This song, man, other bands would dream of writing songs like this. This just really puts Christian Fair's and the band's songwriting right to the forefront. The next track I want to talk about is Verses. It's track 9, and the brilliance continues. Another heavy track that's full of those sort of Seventh Crystal traits. I feel like a stuck record though, guys. I really do. It's like, you know, every song I'm writing the notes for this, thinking, is the brilliance going to end? It really doesn't. But there is no dipping quality on this album. Every moment, every note is just perfection. In this song, the band even go back 70s style a little bit for a second, with like a short Hammond organ solo. It shouldn't work, but it does. So track 10, we've got Mayflower, another excellent modern melodic rock track. This one isn't as immediate as other songs on the album, but I've said this before with this band, they're so different than other bands in this genre. They sort of got a depth in the songwriting. It makes them one of the most exciting bands around. You uncover elements you didn't hear the 6th, 7th time of hearing it. They are the thinking man's band, if you like. Next up is track 11, Push Comes to Shove. A cool, quiet build-up with narration and a guitar before the band hit hard with a fast rocking track. There's a real sort of cool energy about this song, man. The track heads towards the chorus with this fast pace, and then it sort of slows down on the chorus. It just cuts through perfectly with Christian's vocals. It's sort of backed up by those super sweet backing vocals as well. Excellent song. A Place Called Home is track 12, the penultimate track. Sort of slow it down a little bit, the band here. And they return to their origins, I say, a little bit more with this song, giving me a bit of that debut album feel. It has a sort of a stripped back but hard-hitting melodic hard rock feel. This is a ballad of such, but it still has a hard edge for sure, and just really shows that the band have progressed into something special. And then the final track on the album is Song of the Brave. Again, a bit of a slower pace sort of song. Final track of this masterpiece. Synth and vocals just ease you into this epic closer. Christian Fair just reaching those unbelievable heights, man, as his range is sort of tested, but it never ceases to amaze me, man. He's such a powerful closer, the perfect closer, actually. It almost has like a Queen, the show must go on feel in the chorus, but that heaviness is dotted throughout this track. So, man, with so many, like, great releases this year, deciding, like I said at the beginning, on my favourites is going to be impossible, but I've got to say, as it stands right now, this album is my favourite of the year. It's that good. And, you know, while some of my favourite bands have released some of their best albums of their career, that really shows how brilliant this album is. Guys, I'm a bit of a nutter when it comes to Seventh Crystal. I think they are just one of them bands that are just, every step up is just massive, and it's like they've led to this excellent concept album, the third album, like I said, the difficult album sometimes in bands' discography, with ease. It's like the ideas are flowing through. They are as good, they are better than ever. You're going to love this album, guys. Seventh Crystal, Entity, available everywhere on November the 8th. I totally recommend it. See you soon.